Awful Adam, and this is the Menards Fiasco. If you want to test absolute limits of human insanity, try visiting a Menards 3 times in a single Saturday. The first trip is full of hope. You walk in at 8 o'clock in the morning smelling like coffee and optimism. You have your neat little list. You're singing along to that psychotic banjo-heavy, save big money at Menards. You end up finding a $3 plumbing adapter, and somehow you end up buying this massive unhinged bucket of cheese puffs from the grocery aisle because for some odd reason, Menards sells food right next to lumber. Well, you're driving home and you feel like mission accomplished. Well, you finally walk into your house and you end up crawling under the sink, and then you realize that you bought a 1/2-inch adapter instead of a 3/4-inch adapter. Back to Menards you go. Trip number 2 is where the depression sets in. You walk back in through those automated doors. It's now 12 o'clock in the afternoon. The optimism is completely gone. It's dead. The jingle isn't catchy anymore. It sounds more like a threat. You try to find an employee to help, but Menards employees are pre-trained in the art of tactical evasion. They see you walking in, you got your dusty cargo shorts on, they vanish into that insulation aisle like ghosts. When you finally actually corner a 19-year-old kid wearing one of those green vests, you ask where the brass fittings are. He just points vaguely towards the back of the store and mumbles out, "Oh man, aisle 47, unless maybe aisle 112, or maybe the mezzanine." The mezzanine? Why in the hell does a hardware store have a mezzanine? Am I buying a pipe cutter or am I watching an opera? You end up wandering that green and tan labyrinth for 45 minutes and you get so disorientated, you end up in the patio furniture section. Truly heavily considering just buying a gazebo and abandoning the actual house. You finally grab what you think is the right part, you wait in a checkout, and you end up in line behind this guy that's actually buying an entire pole barn piece by piece. Takes a while, but you end up going home. You got back under the sink. You twist on that new part. Snap! You over-tightened it and you broke the actual water valve. Fucking A. Back to Menards you go. Trip number 3. This is pure, unadulterated shame. It's now 4:30 p.m. You're covered in sweat, drywall dust, and defeat. You walk back into Menards. The cashiers recognize you, but they don't even scan your receipt anymore. They just look at you with those deep, pitying eyes. You're not even looking at your list. You're just wandering the aisles, weeping softly, buying things you don't even need. You end up walking home with a 12-pack of soda, a giant bag of gummy worms, and a chainsaw you can't afford. End up with a totally, completely different plumbing part, too, that you hope fits. But by the time you leave that fucking parking lot for the 3rd time, you don't even care about the plumbing part anymore. You just pretty much want to burn your fucking house down and just move into one of those Menards aisles permanently. You guys have been great. Thanks for your time. Stay awful.